Hey, good evening, everybody. Chris Starcheski, the principal here at Dudley Middle School in Dudley, Massachusetts, and co-host of Unlock the Middle Marvel segment. Alongside me, my good friend and colleague, principal of Charlton Middle School, Dean Packard, co-host of Unlock the Middle. What we've got in store for you tonight is a very special experience. Middle Marvels is designed to showcase middle-level educators who are talented and bring their games, their students' games, and their colleagues' games to the next level. Our streaming platforms are YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope. We are live, but you can always check out our archives on our website, as well as through Twitter and YouTube and Facebook. Be sure to catch up on those past episodes. Dean, how are you tonight?
Chris, fantastic. Thank you very much. Kellie's already got a following behind her coming out in the comment section, so we're going to save those for a little bit. But, you know, I'm always excited we have a chance to recognize amazing educators, Chris. I tell you, we started this show back in the middle of the summer, and we said part of our whole process is to be able to find people in the classroom, those heroes, those individuals that bring it every single day, that deserve the credit for helping kids through their journey of learning. And tonight we're not going to disappoint. And, you know, you and I have buildings that are filled with middle marvels, Chris, there's no doubt about it, but we get no better satisfaction than traveling the country. We're in New York City last Tuesday. We're heading out to the big state of Michigan now. It just keeps coming. So all you guys out there, if you know a middle marvel, DM us directly. We want to hear from you. We want to celebrate what they do in your school.
You know, today I had the good fortune of walking through the building with our assistant superintendent of teaching and learning, Dr. Brian Ackerman. And as we were walking around the building, I had the different lens on than I normally have. You know, when I visit those classrooms and you know the players and you know the kids, I walked in there today as if I was an outsider with Dr. Ackerman. And what I was doing was looking for really high level engagement and great instructional practices in the environment that we're in. Because, you know, a couple of years ago, it was real easy to walk into a classroom and see great teaching and learning. But looking at the teachers that I saw today, I was able to identify some really amazing strategies that they did not have in place a couple of years ago. They've evolved. They've made an evolutionary change in their practice because of the environment that we're in. And being able to look at that with a different lens is what Middle Marvels is all about, to learn a little bit about what makes other educators great. And we can actually see some of that greatness in ourselves and in our colleagues directly. So I'm pretty fired up about this episode tonight. Middle Marvel number 28.
Yeah, Chris, you know, and I love that you say that because it's our job as educational leaders to empower the teachers in the classroom to take those risks, to look at education differently than it ever was before. If we ever needed change and we ever needed teachers to think outside the box and to be able to be very authentic with their planning, but yet creative, now is the time to do so. So you're absolutely right. And I think tonight, embedded in our conversation, you're going to see just that. So why don't we bring Kellie in and let's talk about a little bit about what she's all about. How's that sound, Chris?
Sounds good. Why don't I bring her in on the screen and you go ahead and read her bio, Dean?
Got it. Sounds good.
All right. Here she comes, Miss Kellie Bahri.
All right,
hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Kellie Bahri, who is an elementary teacher with a master's degree in curriculum and instruction and educational leadership. Kellie is passionate about supporting learning through establishing strong connections with students and families, as well as creating learning spaces that promote equity and inclusion. She serves as a contributor for instructional leadership and school improvement, is a culturally responsive teaching leader, and a sustainable development goals lead educator. Kellie's first book from her children's book series will be released in March, and I'm sure we're going to get into that a little bit. She enjoys connecting with educators through social media, and we do know that about her, professional organizations, and Twitter chats. Kellie, welcome to our show. How are you tonight?
Great. Thanks for having me. This is going to be a lot of fun. You
Well,
both know I was a little bit nervous, so thank you for making this as easy as it can possibly be. Thank you.
Well, Bonnie Nieve has set the gates open for the Edu Sisters, so we do have a plethora of individuals coming up that we're going to recognize as amazing educators. But we're going to start with you tonight. Why don't you give us a little background about you, Kellie, without getting too deep, because obviously we've had some conversations in our pregame. Tell us a little bit about who you are, you know, where you're from, and what you teach.
Okay, well, I'm from the great state of Michigan. I have been born and raised here. I absolutely love it. I live now in Lower East Michigan, but born and raised in the northern part of Michigan, like up in Lake Michigan and Superior Lake, and huge nature girls. So coming down here, I've been here now for like 26 years. I have taught fifth grade for, let's say, 14 years, because 4 of the 18 was in fourth grade. So 4 years in fourth grade and the rest in fifth grade. I'm a mom of 4 children. The oldest is 28, going to be 29. I cannot believe that. And my youngest is 13. And then I just had one that turned 16 with the driver's license. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
You got a busy household. Hey, one thing I forgot to say is, any comments out there, please reach out to us. Tell us who you are, where you're watching from. That's a big part of Middle Marvel. So at any time, we'll get you up on the screen as well. So Chris, let me kick it over to you.
Yeah, so Kellie, I'm listening to your experience, and your youngest is getting the license. My oldest is getting the license this coming Sunday. So we're not too far apart in age. I think in life experience, though, we got a little separation there.
Yeah, yeah.
But so you've done some elementary education, you've done some middle level, you've been around the block once or twice in terms of the instructional game. Think about a challenge that's come across in your educational career. What's something that you've really had to focus on and overcoming, and how have you overcome that adversity?
So, I spent a little time thinking about that, because I feel like there's a couple of things. One, I feel like all of us are new teachers. You mentioned that just in your intro, saying that you've been watching like veteran teachers having to like restart and relearn what it means to teach online, and all these new things that we've been having. Like 18 years means pretty much nothing when you have to start over and learn how to teach in a different way. That has been, it's been fun, but it's been a challenge to think about over the last year. Sorry, I'm just reading these quotes. Abby! Sorry, just got to throw it out there. And Tracy, oh my gosh, I love these girls so much. All right, so let me get back to it. One of the challenges I'm going to have to like really spend like thinking about this was that when I was in school, I really didn't understand what it meant to have 32 children sitting in front of. It's all about education and about curriculum and design and backwards design and how to teach. But when you look at 32 children that sit in front of you, you realize that they're 32 individual children with different needs and different learning styles. It's just learning how to look at all of these kids and realize that they really need you for more than just your academic needs. And I don't think they taught me that in school. It's one of those things I've learned along the way, making sure that every child in that classroom gets what they need individually. And also, as much as it's a challenge to overcome, it's also what makes learning and teaching so fun, is being able to like build that relationship, to know them well enough to know what to do and how to help them. And so I would have to say that was one of the things I kind of like was shocked when I walked into my first classroom. I thought, you know what, wait a minute, in college they told me that you guys were all going to sit in your chairs and you're going to really learn this. It's going to be just as much fun as I thought it was supposed to be. But, it doesn't always happen that way. They come to us with their own stories, their own learning needs, their own, they're individuals with like their little people. Yeah. And I love the fact that we have to like meet that and, and reach and reach them so that they can learn.
Kellie, I love that you call them little people. I'm not going to lie to you. The fifth grade is my favorite grade in my middle school. I will walk through those classrooms and those kids want my attention so badly. I'm like a king. And when I navigate out into sixth, Sixth, I still have that touch too. Seventh and eighth, they're like, get away. I know that you're just going to redirect me. It's not worth my time. But I mean, I love them the same. There's no doubt about it. But what I get from walking into a fifth grade classroom is just pure magic. And that's that blend from the elementary mindset coming into the middle when kids start having that responsibility being added to the plate of learning. And my gosh, they just begin to blossom. So that's a story between 10 and 14. Anyway.
I know. Somebody asked me why I've been in fifth grade for so long, and that's the exact reason, because I can still call them little people. They still think I'm like the greatest person in that, like, you know, the most fun teacher ever in the entire world. They just, you know, respect and love me. And, you know, they put little apples on my desk still. Like, I love all of those things. But then they have that sense of independence where they're like, wait a minute, I'm the oldest kid in the building. I'm going to be breaking out of here and going to middle school. And it's like, yeah.
Well, and you know what? I'm sure that there's a reciprocity in that love. And I'm sure when they come in your classroom, they know that every child that comes in probably feels the same way. So, and again, that works. That's right, because that's how real education starts. There's no doubt about it. Hey, so my question is simple. What are some of the challenges that you've overcome? You know, 18 years, it's a long time to be in the trenches. And listen, I've got 28 years in the trenches, so I know I got 10 more than you. But at the end of the day, every year has had its challenges. What are some of the challenges you've had to work through in your career so far?
Oh, besides the ones that, besides the ones we've been like talking about, you know, I have to say over the 18 years, I think that every year has different challenges. I couldn't even possibly say that one challenge to come over, you know, overcome is greater than the other. I think that being in education is such a learning process for kids, for me, for administration. Like every single year there's something. And I think it's when you just like walk in knowing that it's just the way it's supposed to be, and we're going to be learning together, and we're on a team, and we're going to do this. And there are going to be times that one of us on the team are going to struggle, and you know, we just make it, right? You just kind of keep moving forward, and you find you find that group of people that will be there for you to support you. And whether that's your PLN and my Edu Sisters and, you know, my Wonder Women that I call, you know, on a daily basis, you've got to find somebody that's in that same realm that wants to love and support you. And yeah, exactly. And that they want to love and support you, and they understand it. And we're there together. So, you know, I think at that point, then all challenges become doable. All challenges kind of come to like, it's fun and we can make it. I have to say there are days that, yeah, do you cry? For sure, right? We've all had a moment where we might have broken down and cried a few tears.
We all have.
Yeah, we all have. I can't imagine anyone in education that hasn't had a few tears along the way. Those tears don't mean that we stop. That means that we just dig, you know, a little deeper and we make it through it. So, in 18
Kellie,
years, we've had a lot of challenges.
What's the one nugget of gold that Kellie brings to her team? What is that thing that makes your team better because Kellie's on that team?
Me? No,
yeah, all right, yeah, just me. I love it. Good.
Well, first of all, I'm on a team of one right now, so I'm the only one in fifth grade in my building. So
wow,
I'm the team. No, to be honest, I think it really is just like the being realistic and being, you know, and knowing that that we can value and we can honor one and each other, and knowing that every person brings their gifts and their goals, and then being able to recognize that, and that knowing that we each have things we need to learn and we need to work on, and that we're not perfect, and all, you know, those things make a really great team. You know, I think laughter too, and having a lot of fun. You know, I think making your team laugh and have fun together really makes the year memorable and great. You know, I have some dear friends that we spend, you know, when it comes to April Fool's Day, we all need to watch our backs because it's going to happen. We're going to have some fun. We are going to be saran wrapping things that should never be saran wrapped. We have moved cars down the street so they can't find them. I mean, we've had some really good times. So I think also just having a lot of fun and enjoying where we're at together. The kids pick up on that. When you're laughing and loving life and having fun, your kids are right there with you. Like they just are part of that too, you know? So if you're like, what should be saran wrap? And they're like, oh, definitely their stapler. Yeah, that's a
Great.
Well, that's actually a great segue, Kelly, because one of the things that's really important is understanding how we incorporate real life lessons into our interactions in our classrooms with the kids. And you gave some great examples about letting the kids see how you act as a person and how you're impacted as a person by your colleagues. And that's infectious. What are some other ways that you bring in real life lessons into your kids' experience of learning?
Well, I really try my hardest. I teach all subjects. Right now I'm teaching math and language arts, but and then they have a couple other classes that are online for their hybrid. It really is just making everything kind of relevant for their life, whether or not we're doing fractions or if we're reading, and then making those connections to the real world every day and having them share their own stories so that their lives come to our classroom and that they're valued for who they are. Being able to share my own stories on a daily basis, something like, my pup did this, or, my son was up to this, or he's, snowboarding, and like, oh, you snowboard too. And we just talk about it, but there are other times where, making things relevant means breaking down the walls of your own classroom and letting them experience the global world around them and making, and allowing them to see that, yeah, the world's a huge, huge place, but it can be really, really close because we're blessed with technology. And here we are, we're sitting like, talking together right now. But my students get this. My students are able to have guest speakers from around the world come in and join and talk with them. I was telling a friend earlier today that we had a dad who was oh my gosh, I hope I get this right. It was a paleontologist, maybe, person that studies bats. I hope I got that right. That's his job. And he was in Costa Rica, so we begged him to FaceTime with us at the time, Skype. I don't know if anybody Skypes anymore, but so we were, do they? I don't know. So, good. Okay. So we were Skyping.
Yep.
He was hunting for this bat, and he said he would take us through the jungle as long as it still worked. I swear I was on a Jurassic Park theme. Like I was like, oh, I think we're in a Jurassic Park movie. It's kind of staticky. You couldn't really hear him. And then all of a sudden his face came back, and then it was out, and then it's back in, and we're like, what's going on? Trees. And he found a bat that he'd been looking for like 10 years, and we were on that journey. I swear it was like all of a sudden we see this bat up in the tree, and we were like, oh my gosh, so he wrote a book, and he dedicated it to our classroom. It was really, really sweet. We had a great time. But just those like fun things, just saying yes, literally saying yes to things that I normally would be like, I don't know, should we not? I say yes. Let's do it. Let's try it and see where it gets us. What's the worst that could happen?
That's right. A hashtag why not? That was a thing I was going through a while ago. I love supporting, innovative ideas, risk taking within the teachers in the building. It's a why not? Just say yes. We'll figure it out later. Chirpiterologist.
Tracy, come on. You're gonna
Tracy, get on here. A Herpetologist.
Herpetologist.
Yeah, why not? Why not say yes? And you know what? I have to say, the last 2 years that I've been on Twitter literally has encouraged me to say that. Why not? Why not try it? When I'm watching other people do things, I'm like, why are we not doing that?
Listen, if the pandemic has given us one thing to do, is to try new things. Because right now we are ripe for innovation and change. So thank you for doing all that. And I think it's vitally important that you continue to do that. And even when we get through this pandemic, stay that course, because you want to talk about engagement of kids. That type of teaching just is a game changer. So continue with it. Don't look back. I always say, don't look in that rearview mirror. See where that road ahead and just keep going, especially if those kids are thriving and wanting more. Hey, I'm going to go backwards a little bit right here. Tell us about a teaching moment that has stayed with you and has resonated with you? I love this question because it
Yeah.
can go anywhere. And as educators, we all have those moments. So picking the right one is the hard one to talk about. But Kellie, give us one that really has resonated within you.
There are so many moments that will stay with me forever. Like I think every teacher could write a book. I could totally write a book about moments that have stayed with me forever, good and bad, right? All right, so I am gonna. One of the moments that will forever ever stay with me was that I've taught in two different districts, and my district before this is my previous district, very affluent district, an open district. So if we had opening, students from lower income families could come to our school. There was an opening, you get to come. Okay, so I had a young girl that showed up, very defiant, angry, didn't want to be there, very sad that she left her home school to come to the school. She definitely wasn't the only African American student in my classroom at the time. She didn't. It was predominantly white. She was angry. She didn't want to be there. Her mom is a single mom, and she it what really stays with me is the relationship that I was able to build with her and her mom. Um, Reaching out to her mom, what do you need? Like, what's going on? How can I help? If she's upset, what do I do? Well, asking her for advice. Like, you're the only one that knows her. Where do I go? And building that relationship for her to like be a part of this. And come to find out, mom worked third shift. So this young girl, on top of having to go to this new school, also went to this home at night with other children. Then she spent the night there. Mom worked third shift. Mom woke, got out of work, brought her to school. And we were probably maybe 3-4 months into school and things were getting a little better. Well, mom called my cell phone during school. She didn't show up. And I thought, okay, maybe she's not feeling well. Mom called and said, my car broke down. And I was like, oh no, okay. Don't even worry about it. We're fine. We will connect. I'll get her caught up tomorrow. She's crying. She is so sad that she can't come to school. And she was really, really broken. She's like, I'm trying my hardest to get there. She's really upset. She wants to get to school. And I was like overwhelmed. Like, for the last 3 months, she didn't want to have anything to do with our class. And that was probably pretty much like that defiant kind of show of just, protecting her heart a little bit. So I said, well, the kids are going up to PE. So I said, I'm coming to get her. Again, I know principals listening to this, put your earmuffs on. I know I shouldn't have, but I got in my car right then and there when I dropped the kids off the PE. I got in my car and I drove over to her house, got her in the back seat, buckled her up, and drove her back to school and got her in. Well, then we signed papers. Okay, so that was probably not the best idea. Anybody listening to this, that never happened.
Guilty as charged too. I've done it.
Yeah, ditto.
Never happened. Then I signed papers. Her mom signed papers. And then so every morning I would like literally swing by her house and I could pick her up so that her mom didn't have to worry about her car. She could go right from work to go to bed. And then I just swung her up and I picked her up and brought her to school every day. To this day, I would have to say it had nothing to do with learning or teaching or anything like that. It was building that relationship with this family that just made such a difference. And she's off to Michigan State University and doing great. And she's just, I think sometimes when you think about teaching moments, I don't necessarily know that it was like, oh, they finally figured out what fractions were.
Yep.
It really has to do with just the whole relationship and the building of that.
I can't believe you left the learning on the table to connect with a family. Wow.
I know.
What a concept that is. And thank you for doing that. And I wish that we could get that in the mindset of more educators, because the real learning will start at home and then it comes into the classroom, because the more balanced kids are and the more cared for and the more that they feel respected and the more that they feel as though they are complete, the easier our jobs as educators will be. Yeah. So great job. That's a special story.
I think when kids feel that they have their space, their place, there's something in that classroom that they're meant to be there. Like they have a very special place. Every kid that walks into my classroom was meant to be there. Every kid in my classroom is supposed to be there. They have a place there. They have a value, and everyone is going to benefit from that person. Like everybody, we will all benefit from each other. And I think when we start to realize that relationship is how they start to learn, then they're going to take the risk, and they're going to like put their hand up a little more, or they're going to try a little harder, or they're going to admit to not knowing something. Would be one of the greatest things that I think a child can do, being able to say, I don't know. Can you
Man,
help me? That would be like, then I feel like I've got the greatest relationship ever with them.
Kellie, you just nailed it. I mean, relationship is primary. The content will come. It could happen when the child gets admitted to Michigan State when they're a young adult. But the bottom line is, if you set the structure and the environment for the kiddo to feel comfortable, be able to share with you and trust you, they know that there's an advocate and a great role model in front of them, and they will go to the ends of the earth for you, and you will stick in their memories forever. And the legacy of Kellie Bahri, not as a teacher, but as a person and a mentor, is going to live on, and they're going to pass that lesson on. It's exceptionally powerful, and I don't think it gets enough credit, amongst educators, because every educator is a hero of some child. Every single day, they are heroic, and it might not be to the kid who's attentive.
Yeah, and if you think about every teacher's gotten a letter from a student at some point, right? That previous student that's written a letter to a child, to your teacher. Sometimes it's an assignment from the middle school. But any letter I've ever received, it had nothing to do with, oh yeah, I'll never forget that you taught me,
Yep.
the capitals of all the states, that really changed my life. It's usually things, helping me realize that I could do something, helping me realize that I was, I'm capable, or, breaking down the walls and letting me see the world for the first time. Those are the things that I get letters about. And so I can't ever let that take place before the learning happens. So you were right. I totally 100% agree with you.
Yeah, you are just truly a rock star, and that's one of the reasons that you're on our show tonight. I mean, Middle Marvel number 28, Kellie Bahri, out there in Michigan. If you ever move to Massachusetts, we've got some spots for you. Just saying.
I'll do it. I've got a few friends out there.
Awesome. Well, Kellie, I think I know where you might be going with this next topic, but thinking about what drives your passion and why you're an educator, what excites you the most about your position as a fifth grade middle level educator?
I think what keeps me excited about my job, or I don't like to really call it a job, to be honest with you. I don't even know. When you love it so much, it's hard to call it like something you have to do. But I think what helps me is that I'm a teacher that never kept a binder on anything, ever. Like, I don't have a binder from last year. So when I go to teach anything, although the curriculum has stayed the same, and I probably could blindly lead my way through all of the curriculum, I'm always wanting to learn what's going on. So I'm just a natural learner myself. Like, that's probably why I thought, oh, teaching might be something that's cool. I like to learn. If I could, I'd be a forever student in the universities if I could afford it. If universities were free, I'd be like, I'm there every day, all the time. But I don't have a binder, so I'm constantly researching and learning new techniques and trying to figure out how to do something new. I think that keeps me fresh, and it keeps me excited, to try new things. And if it doesn't work out, we put it, we got next year, we got the following year to try something new. We got, the next week we can try something else. So, and of course, the kids, right? Like, every year I get a whole set of new kids that I get to learn about and be a part of their lives for 1 year. That's not very long. So in 9 months, I've got a lot of work to build a relationship so that they remember me, and I can they can call me family for the rest of their lives.
Good for you, Kellie.
Aside from COVID survival, okay, you've been in the business 18 years. What would you say to a young teacher now coming into this business? What would the words from your lips to their ears, how could that make a difference for them? What would you say to them?
Oh my gosh, I think this is probably the hardest question possible on this tonight, because, you know, there's a reason that they went to school to be a teacher. There was something that drove them to go into this profession. And there are moments that you're going to have to really hang on to that, remembering why you even wanted to do this in the first place. Because sometimes you can lose that really quickly out of the gate when reality sets in. Like I said, I didn't realize that 32 kids sitting in front of me didn't really want to learn something. I was really surprised, wait, what? There's just a lot that goes into it that you might not know from the university, and to connect with a veteran teacher. They know a lot. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to know that veteran teachers have bumpy roads for the last 18 years. There hasn't been a year that I haven't had a bump. So don't think that you're the only ones that are on that bumpy road. I mean, it's a learning process. So, there are times you're going to have to buckle up and enjoy that bumpy road with the rest of us. And then other times it's going to be smooth sailing and you're going to be like, it's the greatest job in the entire world. And then all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's the bumpiest road ever. I can't believe I'm doing this. And you're like, right, that's normal. Just want to throw it out there. That isn't because you're new. It's just a normal part of being an educator.
I think acknowledging that dark is great.
But knowing full 100%, all of the good and all of the great moments will outweigh any of those tiny little bumps that you think they're going to go away. I promise you, they're going to just be like memories, and then you're going to have a lot more wonderful fun times with your kids. So I say just buckle up, enjoy the ride, and find yourself a really great friend in the building that you guys can laugh and cry and have fun with and be fun, like those things.
That's awesome, Kellie. We can always shine light on the really simple things to hang on to, but acknowledging that there is a little bit of dark, but it gets far outweighed by those moments of, sincere, excitement and passion and success. That's going to stick with you. It's going to stick with the young educators, and it's certainly going to stick with the kids.
Chris, I think Kellie could fit in with all of our fifth grade teachers across the district. She has the
oh
same
my gosh,
with all of them.
absolutely amazing. Totally. I don't know if it's a fifth grade thing or if it's just that we're surrounded by greatness in the fifth grade.
I think it's definitely surrounded by greatness. No, I'm just joking.
So, hey, Kellie, now this is one of my favorite questions, and Dean usually gets to ask it, but I'm taking it tonight. Think about that educator who influenced you the most. Who is the person that you're going to give that shout out to, or people that you're going to give that shout out to? Who helped Kellie Bahri become the educator that she is today and pursue this path?
Okay, this is an easy question for me.
Oh.
There is one teacher, literally one teacher, who transformed my life into education. I wish so badly she was listening, but she's not on Twitter. She's not really she's a retired teacher. She was my cooperating student teacher. And I went into education kind of for the wrong reasons at the time. I really just wanted a job that my daughters would have the summers off, so I needed one too. I really honestly I didn't even know if I would really be doing this more than a year. I thought I'd be like, teach a year, and then I'd be like, done. I really just wanted my degree. I had stopped, I had a family, and then I went back to school. So I was like, I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to have my summers off. And then I went into student teaching, and Debbie Thomas was my cooperating student teacher. Oh my gosh, she literally transformed my life into knowing this was exactly where I was meant to be. She was innovative. She was out of the box thinking. She had every kid just was 100% unique, beautiful, and she met their needs, and she laughed and she drank a ton of coffee As a matter of fact, she was a tea drinker until I showed up. And then I made her a coffee drinker. So then we drank coffee all day long, and we taught, and we had plays, and we were having fun. And we took them on field trips. We put them on bicycles and took them around the block. I mean, we really just had a blast. And then I realized that this was where I was supposed to be. I didn't think 19 years in, but I literally thought, well, I could do this at least for one more year. Then I thought I was going to be in there, right? Saying goodbye to that class was the hardest thing I ever had to do. Walking away from Debbie as like my co-teacher was like devastating for me. And about 5 years later, we ended up becoming partners in teaching. So we were fifth grade teachers together again. So we had a lot more fun. Debbie has literally become my best friend. She lives in Texas. She moved from Michigan. She went to Texas. You guys, she literally like walked out of education, got her full retirement, and now she's a real estate agent for multi-million-dollar homes. Debbie, you are my rock star. I'm following your path.
Kellie,
Yeah.
you're very humble, because something we left out here was the fact that you were also teacher of the year, and you don't become teacher of the year by just, rolling out of bed. I saw that on your Twitter account. So that is something that is, to be cherished, and really speaks volumes of who you are as a person in the classroom. So don't ever forget that. And being humble is very important. But at the end of the day, the way that you just recognize Debbie and everything else, you know what? All those little things make you you. And
thank you.
And that's what makes teaching.
Is that Debbie Thomas?
No, I'll show you Debbie Thomas. Hold on one second.
Okay, I'm on the case to find her contact information, Kellie.
Good try, because
okay.
you're going to reach out to her from Unlock the Middle.
For you. Let me see if I can find her. And she is like literally just like, she's also a children's book author. Yeah, she's quite something. I'll send you
a future author, though, Kellie. A future author. You come on. Let's talk just very briefly about that.
Look at Tracy.
Come on, Tracy's throwing you under the bus right now.
Tracy's like, you better not miss that. Oh,
okay, come on. What's that all about?
I do have a children's book coming out. It'll be out in March. It's actually a book series of right now it's 3 books. I've been blessed and lucky, and a huge shout out to Codebreaker and Brian Aspinall and his entire team. Literally are amazing people. Like, they are wonderful to work with. Anybody that would like to get a book published, I would reach out to Brian Aspinall like that. Like, he's that amazing. I'm really lucky that he said yes to my book. It is, it's really about seeing kids. It's about having different personalities in the classroom. The first book is about ADHD, and that often teachers might see ADHD as a problem, or troublemakers, or a million other things that I've heard in the past. And when you really think about ADHD and that they were born with a gift, and that it's our job to nurture that gift so that the world can have them when they're adults. And the one thing about ADHD children is that they lose their self-worth along the way, because they've been taken from them, right? So just from all of the negativity that they've heard along the way, no, don't do that, and all these other things, they start to lose who they really are. What if educators around the world could see them in a different light and treat that ADHD as a gift that it really truly is? They're visionaries. They're big idea people. They're the ones that are going to be the solutionaries for the world. They're the ones that are going to solve our problems, but yet we rob that because we can't nurture and build them up. Just because they're not made for the seat in the classroom, that's a problem for me. I want to change that. I know there's an entire group out there working to change that. I literally have a book here too. I don't have it with me. Coach Adam, sorry, Coach Adam, I have a book. It's probably because I was reading it. But, Coach Adam and his journey and his story is changing that view that there's superpowers. And so my first book is about ADHD, a little squirrel in a treehouse schoolhouse. They're all animals. Second one's Bear. He's the bully that, bullies are bullies for a reason, and why don't we start looking at why what happened, helping them out. And the last one's an intern, like that. the mouse who's, very introverted, and how do we reach them and give them a voice, and it'll be through technology and other things. So those are my 3 books that'll be, coming out in the next year. But the first one's coming out in March.
Well, we're going to have you on the flagship show on a Sunday night when you debut. I think that's going to be a nice
really?
segment
Okay.
for you. Oh,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, Kellie, first and foremost, I did find Debbie Thomas at Stepstone Realty LLC down there in Austin, or down in Texas, and I will go ahead and make sure she gets a copy of this sent to her inbox.
Yes, she's so awesome.
Yeah, I searched realtors who relocated from Michigan, and I came up with Debbie Thomas.
Oh, you did? And she popped up? I swear,
yeah. So
you'll never meet a girl or anybody, another human being. We laugh because I hope she hears this. We say this all the time. She wears these rosy colored glasses. She's never sees anything except through sunshine and glamour. And you're like, no, danger, danger. And she's like, come on, get in the basket, hang on. And you're like, okay. You just follow Debbie along and hope for the best, but she's amazing. So
that's awesome.
Thanks, Dad, for making me a teacher.
Hey, your books. I worked at a school called Eagle Hill School. It's a school for learning disabled kiddos here in Massachusetts when I started out in my career. And the DIS was in parentheses. And we looked at it as learning abilities, ways that kids could really contribute to the world beyond what conformity says that they need to do. So kudos to you for writing those books. I'm very excited, and as is Dean, to be able to talk with you further about those down the road, about these books. So amazing. Like I said earlier, you're just a rock star educator. You bring the game. Folks out there tonight, hopefully they learned a heck of a lot, not only about Kellie Bahri, but about what is special in what they do with their kids on a daily basis, because that's really what this show's about. Your middle marvel number 28, Kellie Bahri. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're coming up on 42 minutes of time that flew by like that. Yeah. It is mind-numbing how quickly this conversation went tonight. Everybody out there in Unlock the Middle Land, please be sure to join us on Friday afternoon for Navigating Leadership. Sunday night, our flagship show for Unlock the Middle. And Dean, since I'm taking it home, it wouldn't be a take home without you.
Hey, if I didn't get in and interrupt you, what are we talking about on Friday at Navigating Leadership? Turnaround schools.
Turnaround schools on Friday.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that.
All right, huge shout out to my friends for showing up tonight. I love you, girls.
Who are they, Kellie? You want to give them their due justice here?
The what?
Who are your friends? Do you want to just shout them out?
Oh, are they? I saw Tracy. I've got Bonnie. I've got Abby. I've got Hedrick. I've got Jillian, and I've got Tara, and I've got you know what? I don't have time.
Yeah, the whole
hey, you know what? Next time, Dean, we're going to break out the magic mirror from Romper Room. We're going to go ahead and shout out.
Well, we have the Edu sisters coming on sometime in February. Chris, you and I we're going to open it up and just leave.
Yeah, that's it.
Wait till we get on it. It's going to be just fun.
We can't wait. It's going to be fun. Hey, thank you very much. Michigan's lucky to have you. Your school's lucky to have you. Your district's lucky to have you. All right. On behalf of Chris, Kellie, and me, we want to say good night to you. Keep working to be the best you can be in the classroom. Everybody take care.
Have a good night, guys.